walk us through importing our images into Lightroom. So if you have a SD card that you plug into your computer or an SD card reader, your import dialog box should immediately show up right here. But my images are coming from my desktop because I transferred my images there. So I have to tell Lightroom that I want to import images. So I'm going to hit this big import button down here. When I hit that, I'm going to see this thing pop up that looks a little bit like what everything else looks like with Lightroom, so it gets a little confusing. So just to walk you through what this means, this up here is where you're going to select your images. So select a source. It wants to know where images are coming from. It has a little arrow here that says, okay, what do you want to do with those images? You can copy them, move them, add them. And then there's another arrow once you're done with that says, okay, so where do you want to put those images? So we're going to start here with selecting a source. You'll see under here that it has my hard drive and my external hard drive listed. I'm going to navigate through my hard drive. I'm going to go to my users, my name, my desktop, and photos, because this is where I have my photos. And you'll see the photos for your assignment or whatever should be in whatever folder you put them in on your desktop or on your camera. So a couple things. You can import all of your images if you want. I suggest that you import all your images, and then after you import them, if you have ones that you don't want, you can delete them from there, or you can just not preference them. The cool thing about Lightroom is that it's a cataloging tool, so you have lots of ways of filtering out images that you don't want to look at anymore. So I'm going to import all of these images, which means everything here is checked. If I want to not import something, I can uncheck it, and you'll see that it goes a little bit gray. Go ahead and check that again. So here are the images that I am going to put in there. So now that I've selected them, I've got this part done, I'm going to go to the next, which is asking me what do I want to do with them. So you have a couple choices up here. You can copy them, move them, or add them. We're going to ignore the add for right now because that's for a different kind of situation. So you have the choice really of moving them or copying them. For me, right now, my images are on my desktop. So I want to move them from my desktop into my images folder that's part of my Lightroom library. If you have your images on your on your camera, on your SD card, you're going to copy them from your SD card onto the computer. You do have this other option that says copy as DNG. Copy as DNG is going to take your raw files, and it's going to take whatever proprietary raw file it is and convert it into what Adobe is calling DNG, which is a digital negative. That is their hopefully universal file format. The idea being that if any of these companies go out of business, that if you convert it to a DNG, the DNG will hopefully be able to open under any circumstances. So far, it hasn't really been adopted super widely, so that's up to you whether you want to do that or not. In my case, I am going to move my images from one place on my computer to another place on my computer. So now that I've said move, I'm going to go over here where the next arrow is taking me, and I'm going to tell Lightroom where I want to put these pictures. So I'm moving them from my desktop in this photos folder, moving them, and I want to put them in my Lightroom library in my image files folder. So what you'll see is right now it's going to my hard drive, users, K. Wartendijk, pictures. So that pictures folder is the default place where Lightroom's going to send pictures just to your computer. We don't want that. Those will get disconnected from the actual files within Lightroom. So what we want to do is we want to go to this little up-down button right here, press Other Destination, and we're going to navigate, in this case, to my external hard drive, to Lightroom Library, and to Camera Files. So I'm going to make a new folder within Camera Files for this particular assignment. So I'm going to say New Folder, and I'm going to say this is for pp2 underscore. Let's say this is for assignment 1. Let's say this is Get Lost. So I'll say assign 01 underscore my last name. And I can put my image files in a folder called that. That's one way of naming them. Second way of naming them, if this makes more sense to you, is to put the assignment name. So this one was Get Lost, Wartendijk. So in this case, I'm going to create this, and now I've got this pp2 Get Lost Wartendijk folder, and I'm going to choose that. That's where I want to put those pictures because they belong there. So now I look back up here at the breadcrumbs, and it says Camera Files, pp2 Get Lost Wartendijk, and so that's where they're going, not the pictures file. So let's work our way down through all of these here. So you have 4 different little modules here that you have to work your way through. First one is file handling. You want to build your previews as standard. You can build smart previews. You do not want to import selected duplicates. You do not need to make a second copy to anywhere else. And you do not want to add these to a collection at this point. So standard previews, build smart previews, don't import selected duplicates. So we're good on file handling. File renaming. So in file renaming, we're going to create a template so that every time we import, we can always get the name that we want on all of our pictures. So I'm going to go in here, this menu right here where it says template, and I'm going to choose edit. And I'm going to make a custom template. So I'm going to get rid of everything there. And what I want to do here is I'm going to do a file name. Actually, I'm going to do pp2, because that's photographic practice 2, underscore. It will always be photographic practice 2. So underscore. And then I'm going to do a custom text box. This will allow me to put the assignment name in differently each time. Then I'm going to do an underscore, and I'm going to put a sequence number. I'm going to do 3. Sequence 001. So that gives me 3 numbers. So it'll go 001, 002, 003. And what you can see up here is the example. It says pp2 untitled 001.nef. So that is a preview of what my file name will be. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to save it as a preset. So I'm going to go to save current settings as new preset. I'm going to call this file name and create and say done. So now in my file renaming here, when I go to my templates, if I go to my drop-down menu, I have this file name here. You'll see that down here it says pp2 untitled 001 NEF, right? So we don't want the image files to be named untitled. So we have to, that's where that custom text box is. So here's custom text right here. So we're going to go into custom text, and we're going to type in either the assignment number or the assignment name. So this was for Get Lost. So now my file names are going to be pp2 Get Lost 001, 002, 003. So next time you come in here and you're importing another assignment, you can go to your file name in your template, and you can type in custom text, whatever the assignment number or name is. So we're good on file naming now. So in our apply during import, we are going to create a copyright metadata. So in this metadata right here, we're going to go to New, and we are going to make this preset copyright. We're going to go down here. There's a lot of information that you can put in. We don't want any of this stuff. We're going to scroll our way down to the IPTC copyright. So copyright is Option G or Alt G on a PC. So I'm going to put copyright, my name. My copyright status is going to be copywritten. I'm going to write all rights reserved. The reason I'm putting all rights reserved is because I'd prefer to protect myself. I can always allow people to use my work if I want to let them use my work, but if I put all rights reserved, I have the say. If you have a URL, a website, I'm going to put that here. And then that's good for that part. We're going to also put some information in this IPTC creator. So I'm going to put my name here. And then, some of this is dependent on your comfortability with what you want to share. I have no interest in putting my address there. I don't want anyone showing up on my front door, knowing where I live. But I will put my city, because that's a pretty big place. And, it's not, people aren't going to show up on my doorstep. Put Illinois. I'm going to skip the zip code. Country, I can put USA. And then important to put a way for someone to contact you. So if someone finds your image, they run the metadata, they want to use your image for something, and they need to get in touch with you to get your permission, you want them to be able to find you. So here I'm going to put my email address, but just take note, I'm going to put my personal email address, not my school email address, and I suggest you do the same. The reason for that is that you lose your school email address after you're done with your program. So once you lose your school email address, if this is the metadata that's attached, someone won't be able to contact you. So use your personal information so that way it's sort of evergreen. And then if you have a website, you can go ahead and put that in here. And that's all the information we need. So from there, I've got my preset name is copyright. I've got all this in here. I'm going to say create. And now if you look over at the metadata over here, there is an option for copyright. This should show up every time you come in and are in the import dialog box. That's all you need to do here. And you should only have to do that one time. That should always show up in your presets now. And so you just apply it each time you import. So, last thing we're going to do is go to destination. So super important. Often we get a default where Lightroom is going to put everything in folders based on date. What you'll see down here is if it's by date, you're going to see a mess of folders and dates and all kinds of things that looks real sloppy. We don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you made a folder for this assignment. You're going to put everything in a single folder. So you're going to go to organize, and you're going to say into one folder. And if you watch at the bottom where this folder is down here, when I put into one folder, it's going to collapse all of those little things into this single folder. That's what we want to do. This is also a way for you to double check and make sure you're going into the right folder. It should match up here. This says get lost. This says get lost. Now we are good to import. You'll press your import button and you'll start to see your images come into your Lightroom library. As they come in, you'll notice that the all photographs here number will start to raise. It'll tell you how many photographs you have in your library altogether. Your most recent import will always be shown under current import. And then in your folders down here, this is actually mirroring your hard drive. So you can see if I go here and I say show parent folder, that we are in the camera files and we are in Get Lost, and these are the images that I have in that folder that we're now able to see inside of Lightroom. So Lightroom, when we import stuff into Lightroom, we're not actually moving it into a program. We're creating these different pathways so that Lightroom can see where your images are and access them. It is sort of like going to the library. If you find the number for whatever book you're looking for in the stacks, you find that call number, you have to use that call number to then go find the actual physical book. Lightroom is essentially, as it's importing, creating call numbers so it can find your images. So you never want to be moving things outside of Lightroom, or Lightroom won't be able to find them again because it's using that information to kind of recall them. So now we're all imported and we're in our library and we are good to go.